Welcome back to the Mostly Legal Podcast, a show where we tell the stories of people who make law firms operate. I'm Rob Joyner, Senior Vice President of Business Development at Centerbase. Today we're joined by someone who spent nearly 3 decades helping lawyers turn digital chaos into calm productivity. We're talking with Paul Unger, attorney, author of Tame the Digital Chaos, and founding partner of Affinity Consulting Group. Paul's a self-proclaimed nerd at heart who went from practicing law to teaching thousands of lawyers how to manage their time, organize their data, and find focus in an increasingly distracted digital world. In this episode, we dive into everything from why multitasking is a myth, to how firms can get their digital house in order, to how AI tools like Microsoft Copilot are transforming the way lawyers work. If your inbox stresses you out, or your notifications never stop pinging, this episode's for you. Let's dive in.
Today we are speaking with Paul Unger, who is the founding partner, one of the founding partners of Affinity Consulting Group. And Paul, you guys do a lot of things, so I'll let you, can you give me in just a few sentences, what are all the things that Affinity does? And then also kind of tell me where this came from. Why did you start? You've been doing this 28 years now? How did it get formed? Yeah.
So at Affinity, we do strategic consulting and technology consulting. We like to say, lawyers go to law school to learn how to practice law, not how to run their business. And so we help lawyers run their business.
Okay.
Using technology and strategic planning.
But you are a lawyer who doesn't practice law and now runs a business. So tell me what that transition was like for you.
So I've always had this passion for technology. I've always been a nerd. In my early days, I wanted to be a computer programmer, and then I wanted to be a lawyer, and I just couldn't decide. So I decided to go to law school. And right before law school, I met my business partner, Baron Henley. Mm-hmm. And I actually bought my very first PC from Baron.
Oh, wow.
And it was, we were introduced by a college classmate of mine who went to school with Baron. He was a year ahead of me. And so Baron sold me my first computer.
Wow.
And many of you know Baron.
Yes.
He's kind of a giant in this world too. Does a lot of Microsoft Word for legal professionals, classes and seminars. Baron was building computers. He built, back then you bought components and you put them together in a tower. And he sold me mine right before I entered law school. And then I referred lots of people to him. And at some point he said, "Hey, you're really good at this. Do you want to do this with me?" And so I started selling, we were selling boxes and laptops at that point to law students and law professors and small law firms.
Okay.
Because we started working for small firms. Then we both, got into practice. We were still doing that as we were practicing for the man.
Okay.
And we were having lunch one day and we said, there's got to be a better way to do this and to make money instead of working for the man. So we decided to make this leap.
Okay.
And this was, probably 1996, 97-ish. And all our colleagues thought we were crazy, but we did it. And so Baron and I started the company, the two of us. Parallel to that, in Florida, Debbie Foster is kind of doing the same thing. And Steve Best was doing the same thing in Atlanta. Britt Lorish was doing the same thing in Virginia.
Yeah.
And so we all had these parallel paths right about the same time. And we started working with Amicus Attorney and PC Law, Time Matters, those, old legacy programs that kind of make us giggle today. And we all met at these software conferences and we hit it off immediately. And, eventually we merged.
Paul, I don't know which one it was, but somebody posted on LinkedIn just last week a picture of the original group.
Oh, yeah.
Standing side by side. And it was fun to look through that picture and just see the change, because you guys have obviously built an amazing firm. Question for you, Paul. So you're someone that's known for turning digital chaos into well-oiled machines for law firms, right? So you talked about being a nerd at heart and the systems you originally worked with and all that. What does digital chaos look like in a law firm?
my computer. Oh no, wait, sorry. That wasn't for me.
Most firms, yeah. No, so one of my passions that I really started developing, honestly, due to my own challenges with ADHD, probably in the, 2005 to 2010-ish time period, was time management. And that it really was born from email management, because my partners, Debbie and Barrett in particular, would criticize me because it would take so long to answer their emails, right? And my inbox was out of control, 50, 60,000 emails. And just as a way to fix that problem, I just dived into all sorts of research on this. And at the same time, CLE organizations started really needing assistance and asking for classes and instruction seminars on, how do we fix this digital chaos? Because we have, not every firm has a practice management program like Centerbase that is the central hub in the spinal cord where everything can get organized. So everything really developed, as you know, based on islands. You had a word processor, you had, billing software, you had accounting software that was separate. Everything were these little islands. And we had great practices actually in the paper world that we lost because we were dazzled by this technology, and so to make sense of it and to really centralize our data and inject some of the analog practices that we used to do back into the digital world, I started developing this time management series that started with email management and distraction management, task and deadline management, digital detox, and it just kind of morphed. So that's been a passion of mine for the last, almost 20 years, just teaching lawyers how to do that. I do a little bit of coaching, which I find to be very therapeutic, and I learned so much from the coaching.
Yeah.
Right.
But yeah, so I wrote a book called Tame the Digital Chaos, and I just really love helping lawyers centralize their data and come up with really personal processes to get organized and to calm the chaos in our head as well.
Paul, I have a follow-up question to that. So you talk about going from analog to some of these technology platforms. They were all decentralized and you were all over the place. I have this hypothesis that that's about to start again as firms start to implement a lot of these, what I'm going to call point solutions that solve a single problem for a single practice area or a single attorney.
Yep.
And you're about to jump into, if you're not orchestrating it correctly or building that operating platform to start with, you're about to jump right back into what you were previously describing. Do you feel the same way?
I do. We had our strategic partner and leadership meeting this week. We had it yesterday and Monday. And one of the challenges with AI is getting our data in a central location, so the AI tool can look at a central place,
right?
Because it's so scattered. We have people saving documents in OneDrive, in their firm's SharePoint, on their desktop, in their email, in their document management system.
Everything's all literally everywhere.
Yeah. It's a digital mess. And then we have these wonderful tools that are, like Harvey, and then, and ChatGPT, and who knows how all that's going to meld together. But we really need a central source of truth that the AI can look to. And that's a huge problem. It's a problem even within our own organization, because we came from several different organizations and we had several different platforms. And here we are today still, we still see remnants of that. So yeah, I think, it's a constant challenge, and and people getting decentralized because of the applications they choose without thinking through the big picture is a big problem.
So when you're thinking about also, with that and including how it's going to impact lawyer productivity. So you've been doing this 20 years. What are some of the big stumbling blocks you see when it comes to lawyer productivity, and has it gotten better or worse since you started?
Well,
you wouldn't exist if it continues to get better, right?
Right. And and because the advent of new technology, we have to figure out ways to do them, to do these things with these new applications. But I'll use email management as an example with this idea of central source of truth. No one is going to be good at processing email if they are decentralized, if their data is decentralized. Think about it. An email comes in and they ask you a question. Hey, can you send me a copy of that, survey that we, had to put together for that real estate deal 2 or 3 years ago? And you think, okay, well, I've got to look in 5 places for that, right? And maybe even send a couple emails, because it could be somewhere on my desktop, it could be in Dropbox, it could be in OneDrive, it could be in SharePoint, the document management system where it really should be, or your matter management, your practice management system that might be the document management system, or integrating with like a NetDocs for iManage. So you have all these places, and and email, and maybe you might shoot off an email. That alone is going to take 20 minutes, right?
Right.
To find the answers. What are you going to do? You're not going to answer that email. You're gonna skip, because you have 20 other emails right behind it. So you're gonna jump to.
I always jump to whatever one's the easiest.
Right. So then we procrastinate, and then what happens to that email? It gets buried by the 50, 100 more emails that come in that day. So unless you get your digital house in order, you're never going to be good at email management. So email management is not just it's not just about responding quickly. It's also about getting your digital house in order. And it's also about giving yourself more single tasking time. So, we talked about this, Amanda, in the past, when, you have lawyers in your organization who on one screen are, they're drafting documents, reviewing documents, they're doing mental gymnastics. And on another screen, they've got their email. And then now we also have Teams, right? And so instant messaging and then we have bomb, fire, bomb landing in our inbox, or Teams or Slack or Jabber or whatever else every, minute.
At this exact moment, my managing partner is texting me about a staffing thing he needs me to handle. So yeah, on my phone too. You didn't even name my text.
Your phone. Yeah, your phone too. So all these notifications going off, that's digital chaos. But, back to the original point, with it, unless you've got your digital house in order and a central source of truth, in an ideal world, let's go back to paper. Think back and you might be too young. You guys might be too young for this, but
I'm not.
Before the PC hit the desktops, and before we had wonderful software like Centerbase and an email, we had a paper file. And I'm not advocating the paper file.
Had past tense had.
Well, some file? Still do. Some still do have the parallel paper file. I
spend so much money for current paper files. We still have a lot of paper files.
In my office, we had the Pendaflex system where it was like 6 sections, but if you had your hands on the paper file, you could find something usually within 30 seconds. Now, that was a big if. That's why I'm not advocating the paper file.
Because you never knew where it was. It could have
been in the trunk of somebody's car. It could have been at somebody's home. It could be under somebody's desk. Who knows?
How many times have you tried to develop a file checkout system where somebody has to say where the file is, and it has to, just like with the library books, you have to put in, this is where the file is, but then everybody grabs it and doesn't fill out the sheet of paper. Yes. So.
That's right. Yeah. That's right. And so, if you had the file and the filing was done, which were 2 enormous ifs, but you could find that was the central source of truth, because you had your you had your intake information and contact information in one section, your correspondence, all in chronological order, by the way. Now compare that to the most digital files today. The documents are sorted based on the date that they were saved in or modified, not a document date. So so you could sort it by the true date. And then you had pleadings, and I did litigation, so I wasn't in the transactional world, but everything was in chronological order. You could find something within seconds. Today, we have to look in 5, 6, 7 locations. And so, it takes 15 minutes to find the answer. Mm-hmm. We're never going to be good at corresponding and communicating with people.
You talk about this digital house, and we keep going back to it. I know this is, in general terms, when you're thinking about a firm, what are those foundational pieces or those building blocks for their digital home that they need to consider?
At a personal level, if I were to coach, one of you, oftentimes we don't have control over what the firm and what other teams are doing, and so it's a different. If I were coaching you, I would say, listen, you've got to do whatever you can do to centralize the data as much as you can within the confines of your firm and what your other team. And then now work at your team level and see if you can centralize that data with your team. The real answer is you've got to get everybody on the same page in the organization. You got to do what's right for the firm, right? So in an ideal world, I would recommend practice management software. Mm-hmm. That probably, if you're a small firm, probably you can get away with it for document management.
Right.
But, pretty quickly you get up to 5, 10 users and you're already in need of a NetDocuments or an iManage. And so you have, like a center base that integrates with NetDocuments or iManage. That is ideal. And it's not pie in the sky. I mean, it's really, today I think it's needed more so than any. And then when you layer AI on top of it, you think about what AI can do with practice management and document management and reach out to legal research all from a central interface. And that's just magic. That's magic.
I feel so lucky. We made it 17 minutes without talking about AI. So let's go. Since
oh boy, I opened a can of worms.
No, it's okay.
Well, I was going to bring it up when you talked about multitasking because my multitasking is like 4 different prompts running on different screens and just going from one tab to the next and working through them.
So it's hot. It's a hot topic. And we also talked a little bit about the single point of like the products that are out and coming out. But how has it impacted your time management consulting? Are you seeing like lawyers use AI tools effectively? Is it just adding another layer of complexity? What are you seeing?
I mean, it does add a layer of complexity, but I think they're generally really good tools. Like, so if you look at our core Microsoft Office products. So let's look at Microsoft 365. When you layer Copilot on top of that, to me, that's a foundational tool that I think every user, every team member needs in every firm because it provides a closed platform. Mm-hmm. Listen, I love ChatGPT. I love Perplexity, Claude. I love all of them. But unless you're using the enterprise version, you run the risk of a user accidentally uploading a medical record or something confidential and breaching Rule 1.6. So we need to provide a closed platform of some sort. And so I love the idea. Copilot's priced right. You got a closed platform, and let's look at Teams. Let's use Teams as an example. Microsoft Teams. I love Teams, but talk about decentralizing. Right now, if everybody could communicate within Teams, including the client, now we can communicate in a bubble and all the communications in one spot. Right. Doesn't happen that way because our clients are communicating with us via email. So now we have Teams communications out in Teams with our internal people, and then we have client communication coming in through email. And then finding anything in Teams is like looking for that little dry cranberry in a salad bowl.
Or
right?
anything in Microsoft Outlook ever. So, yes.
Yeah, but now you layer Copilot on top of that. And Copilot for Teams to me, has been like this. I know it's like just, it's not, AI is much bigger than a search engine, but when you put it in Teams, it is a fantastic search engine to find that little dry cranberry in the salad bowl. And you're looking for, you can look for Outlook communications, you can look for instant messaging, informal Teams within Teams, and so you can find all of that in one place. In drafting email, having it review email, Copilot's great for that. And you're getting the power of ChatGPT in that product.
We'd like to take a moment to thank our sponsor, Centerbase, legal practice and management software designed to deliver optimal efficiency, profitability, and business growth for your mid-sized law firm. Learn more about how Centerbase helps you practice, manage, and grow your law firm with modern technology at centerbase.com.
You're our second guest who said that firms should go to Copilot and have that as a starting point and then find what else is going to fit on top of that. Bite the bullet, get the Copilot license, and then go and solve other problems as they come up and as they're identified with different products. But that's like almost a core business tool. Is that going too far to say that?
No, I think so. It's I'm curious who else said that?
Mel Ballesteros, who works as an AI consultant at a large law firm.
Yeah. The other reason why I think it's so good is because it gets people, Copilot's embedded right in Teams and in Outlook now, and you get your repetitions in. So then you learn how you learn prompt engineering. And the more you do it, the better you get, the more creative you get, and the more then you understand the power behind it, that it's not just, you're not just using it to draft this little language, you're using it as a strategic partner. Right. You're using it as a brainstorming tool. You're using it for so much more.
Paul, you mentioned firms just need to bite the bullet and go towards Copilot. A lot of firms, as they're starting to evaluate AI, they're thinking, these are cool tools, but my costs are going up, right? My technology costs continue to increase. If a firm were to say that to you, what would your response be?
Well, with Copilot in particular, I think that's an easy return on investment, because you can see, you don't even have to do a formal return on investment analysis or evaluation. The first time you have it draft something or review, a transcript, and do it right, because it's all in the prompting. But the first time you experience that, you immediately realize, wow, I just did something that would ordinarily take 30 minutes or much more, and it did it in 10 seconds. So I think once they see the power of that, it's a no-brainer.
Taking it one step further, so Amanda and I were with Debbie last week, and we were hosting a roundtable. We were talking to a firm that said, hey, AI doesn't necessarily make sense for my practice area because I have to bill on the billable hour. What are your thoughts there?
Ooh, deep. That's a deep dive.
That's a deep dive. You can keep it high level if you want. I'm taking us off topic.
That's okay. It's perfect. Listen,
it's always tough because there are certain practice areas that are just so, they're not only resistant, and in fairness, it is difficult. And Amanda, you know this because you're in that world. To move to a flat fee, value-based billing is
for litigation.
Hard.
It's very difficult.
It's hard. It's and we do all of our our metrics on compensation, based on the billable hour. So there's so much that goes into that. That's difficult. But I at the end of the day, I really think that AI is helping us do better work, right, in less time. And so if used correctly, it is it's going to give us a better work product. It's going to give us a better writing product. It's going to allow us to do better research in less time. Not really that dissimilar if we go back to the late 80s and early 90s to where, we used to do legal research in books, right? And then Lexis and Westlaw came about and we could do it in a fraction of the amount of time. That was pretty transformative. And a lot of people back then were saying the same thing.
Right.
What do we, it took, we used to bill 50 hours.
It's a really good analogy that I think so many people forget.
Yeah. And so now it's just, at a different level. And I don't know how it's going to unfold. I really don't. But I do think a lot of lawyers getting in trouble because they're not using it right.
Yeah.
Right.
So I have a comment and then a question. But my first comment is the interesting thing about Lexis and Westlaw is the way that they have pricing structure is for some firms or many firms, they can still bill that charge back to clients, right? And so that was kind of how Lexis was able to get over that hurdle of it's going to take you less time, so you won't get less billable work, but you can charge the fees for us back to your client. And so some firms and larger companies are not allowing this in billing guidelines anymore and outside counsel guidelines, but a lot of firms still do this. So AI companies are not pricing that yet in that same vein. And I've talked to multiple companies and have said, like, if I can pass this on to clients, it's an easier yes for us. Are you seeing, like, how are you participating in conversations around that concept, that pricing concept?
I agree. Like one example, like think about medical chronologies.
Mm-hmm.
There are specific AI tools made to do medcrons and they're priced per case.
Right.
So like if you look at Supio is a good example. You pay per case per month. And now it's really it's really created, that solution's created more for plaintiffs lawyers than defense, but it actually could be. I mean, it could be developed, but
yeah.
that could be a case expense that is attributable to the client.
Right.
Because it is actually billed by the case.
Right. But for Copilot is not. They're not going to bill me that.
Not.
Yeah. And so, yeah, but I think that there is going to have to be this fundamental shift in how are we going to pay for this tech, I think. So you mentioned earlier a little bit about prompting. Rob, I know it was your turn, but this was my second part of my question. You mentioned about prompting and how the key to some of these tools is really using good prompts. So I know you have a specific prompt that you use to set up an AI, like a time management coach, and you're integrating it with some of your old school self-audit logs. Can you walk us through it? Tell us how it actually works.
Well, a couple thoughts. First is, you guys probably experience this too, that you get a lawyer that says, oh, I've tried Chat or Claude or whatever, it's junk.
Yeah.
We're like, well, let's talk about what you did. And so, and they throw in a transcript and they say, summarize the attached. Of course you're going to get junk. You provided it no context whatsoever. It doesn't know what to summarize. What you wouldn't do that with a first-year law clerk or an associate that came in. You would tell them, all right, well, this is the case. This case is about X. These are the important issues. You have to treat the AI as if it's a first-year associate, and you're sitting down and going over the assignment. So you provide all that context. So that's the biggest mistake that I see people, lawyers make, and then they just throw the whole thing out. They're like, it's junk. We're not going to use it. And so anyway, that's on the time management side. Yeah, it's really, really fun. So not only do we have tools like Copilot that is really good to help with email management and identify tasks and prioritizing tasks and those type of things, but one really creative use that I have developed, I've got this prompt that's probably, I don't know, is at least a page and a half long. And it is basically telling the AI that you are a time management coach.
Mm-hmm.
And I am an estate planning lawyer in Atlanta, Georgia. And I manage a team of, 10 people. And, these are the types of clients that we're trying to develop. These are my challenges. I am ADHD. I'm highly distracted. I'm really good under the gun, but if I have any time at all, I'm not focused. You tell it, you treat it almost like a time management coach / I hate to even say it, but therapist.
Right.
And then what I take a very old legacy tool so if you went back to, I don't know, like if you went to a bookstore in the 80s, that would have been what? Little Professor bookstore? Did you have a Little Professor's bookstore? So I don't even think
Rob
they were
wasn't
around
alive in the 80s. So.
Let's just say Barnes and Noble for the new people. So, but if you went to a bookstore in the 80s and you bought a book on time management, probably one of the first chapters would be do a time audit.
Right.
So a time log audit. So you log everything that you do and it's a good exercise, a good like self-reflection exercise, right? You're like, I'm doing that. That is such a waste of time. And when you write it down, you see it, right? You see the deficiencies and you see what you're doing, but you look at that audit and that's kind of a foundation to like, all right, let's fix this. We can like, why are you even doing this exercise? So this is something you should be delegating, right? Those type of things you find in an audit. Well, when you throw AI at something like that, now you can add in things like my diet. What did I eat? Right. And then I experience brain fog, and those are things that you can add to the log. Your sleep, right? You like all these other things that go into time management and really self-care. And then now you have this super bionic tool that is evaluating, let's say, a week of your time log of everything that you do from the time you go to sleep till the time you wake up, and what you ate and who interrupted you and what they asked, all those things. And you've got this super tool, and then you tell it, look at David Allen's book, Getting Things Done. Look at Paul Unger's book, Tame the Digital Chaos. Look at Cal Newport. Oh my God, what a great resource that is. Cal Newport, anything from Cal Newport. And make suggestions to me about how, and put together a plan, a master plan, and break it out into incremental phases so I don't, try to boil the ocean. And then you keep that thread going and you go back to it. Like, okay, I tried this and this didn't quite work, or this worked really well. And now the AI is coaching you over this long-term period, much like you hear people using AI as a therapist, but now you're using it as a time management coach. It's really fun.
I love this.
You could be, you're not embarrassed telling, like, I hear a lot of people say this when they use AI, for a therapist. They don't like telling a person some of their, deep, dark secrets, but they don't mind telling the AI.
Well, I would be really careful what deep, dark secrets you put in
know.
the internet.
I know.
Right.
So somebody told me they always say please and thank you.
Oh, I am
because when the robots take over, they're going to remember what you said.
That's right. There was somebody had cited. I saw an AI speaker a few months ago that said they saw a study that indicated when you're rude to AI that you get better output.
What?
And so I did a little research on that, by the way, and I found that it's really about being concise, like just being kind of slightly curt, and you do get like it takes some ambiguity out.
So you don't say, "Dear Claude, I hope you're having a fantastic day. Amanda here. It's so nice to see you."
That's right. And so being nice too. That it's you don't want to be overly nice, but you want to be polite. So I mean, between the two, like if the bots are going to come after us, Rob, right?
Yes.
Terminator. I'm going to say please and thank you because I would rather them not come after me when that time comes.
I'm just going to put Amanda's address in there all the time. Make sure they're not coming after me. I also find too, sometimes if you take a break with the AI and then go back to something, you get better answers as well.
Yeah.
Sometimes
really
when you take a small break. Yeah. I found that.
That's interesting.
On a personal note, Paul, you've done this, you mentioned, for 28 years. You've been consulting for 28 years. I see the excitement. You and I don't know each other that well, but I see the excitement in your face as you talk about some of these topics. What is it that keeps you excited waking up and wanting to help lawyers every day?
Honestly, it's that when I look at time management, it has such a big impact on people's lives because it's such a huge relief. Personally, it's because it's really I look at time management as about self-care. It's not just, meeting this deadline, right? Or getting your time entered or something like that. It's much broader than that. And so I have people tell me, oh my God, ever since I took that program, my blood pressure's down and I changed my diet and I've done, and to see those kind of things, it really brings me joy to do that. So I never get bored talking about it. It's just as many times as I have, delivered my time management program. And Amanda,
we had it both for our partner retreat and it went over so well. We brought it back and did it for all the attorneys. So yeah,
it's just fun. It's fun to do and it's exciting. Barron and I talk about this, and Barron, he does Microsoft Word classes, and you think Microsoft Word, people don't know Microsoft Word in the year 2025.
Nope.
They don't.
Nope.
They absolutely don't.
And entire swaths of kids are coming out of college having never used it. So
never. And they're using because they're using like Google Docs now.
Yeah. I keep hypothesizing that the kids, and I can say that now, coming out of college are going to be the first generation that's less technical than the generations before them when it comes to business equipment, business software, and using technology in that way. And that's my personal theory. Okay, let me ask you another personal question. So you've written books, you speak all over the place, you work with law firms, you coach, you also restore historic homes. So how do you...
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. How do you practice what you preach when it comes to time management? And do you have any guilty time wasters that would surprise people?
It's funny that by teaching it so often, it is also my coach, right? So it's therapy. You hear people say some of the best therapists in the world are the biggest messes. Mm-hmm. So if you went back and talked to Barron and Debbie in the late 90s, I was that mess. I mean, I absolutely was that mess. But for the last 20 years, I've been really good. I can count on one hand the number of times my inbox has been over 100 emails. It's always, 20 or less. So it's pretty good, but I do here's where I struggle: wearing too many hats. Mm-hmm. And that's something I work with people on constantly in coaching. Like, you are wearing too many hats and that's just too much context switching. Of course you're going to fail. Of course you're going to drop balls. Things are going to slip between the cracks. And I have a difficult time. Debbie struggles with this as well. We love doing a lot of different things, mm-hmm. and we have a hard time saying no, right? And that's probably my biggest challenge is I want to help everybody. I never want to say no, and then that always results in, not always results in a mess, but at least in my head, a mess. Like, what did I do? Why did I
joining this podcast, which is a waste of time and a mess.
No, this is fun. This is fun.
Oh, I almost died earlier in the episode. Thank you guys for not calling it out. I took a big gulp of water. It went down the wrong pipe, and I just ran off screen really fast.
We plowed through like pros.
You plowed through. Yes.
It's okay if you are off for a little bit. We'll be fine without you.
I know. Let's go into the lightning round.
Lightning round, okay.
Oh, what's that?
You get 30 seconds or less, Paul, to answer each of these questions, and there are 6 or 7.
All right. I suck at those kind of things, so I'm just warning
This
you.
is very easy.
No, this is easy.
Yeah.
Paper planner or digital calendar?
Paper planner for daily planning.
Wow.
Okay.
For daily planning.
Okay.
You always do better operating from a short list. So digital for master task list and your calendar, okay? But for daily planning, absolutely analog, 100%.
Wow.
One app that you couldn't live without, and don't say Copilot.
Text Expander.
Oh,
Which
I
one
love
do you
that.
use? Is it called Text Expander?
It's actually called Text Expander. Yeah, and it runs on all my different devices. I have all my prompts. It's my prompt library. It saves me gobs of time every day.
All right. What is your best time of day for your focused work?
Late night.
Late night?
Oh,
Late
Wow.
night.
Interesting.
I'm a night out, like between 9 and 12.
huh.
I have been
Okay.
asleep for 3 hours by that point.
Okay, next one. If you could automate one thing that lawyers still do manually, what would it be?
Document assembly.
Okay,
Rob, you skipped this one, and I know his answer to it already, which is,
go ahead.
what is the value of filing email bankruptcy? And for people who don't know what that means, it's just like, I'm never going to get this under control. I'm going to delete everything, pull it to a folder, and start over.
The benefit of email bankruptcy?
Yeah, or do you believe in it? Or yeah.
Totally. I teach it all the time. Yeah, 100%. So it's not just it's a huge monkey off your back,
Mm-hmm.
right? But then you could see what's coming in and effectively communicate and timely communicate.
Then I end
Right.
up having folders every 6 months that say email bankruptcy, October 2025, email bankruptcy, April 2026.
That's okay. You know what that's like? Those are like the stacks of magazines that you accumulate in your house.
Because I'm
if
going
you
to make
still
those
get
recipes. Yeah.
Yeah, and then you just
Never
throw them
do.
away because you're going to get the same recipes, right? And if something was important, they would have emailed you by now too.
Yeah, if they email
That's
you
fair.
twice, if it was that important. Yep.
That's right.
Now we're going to go into our final section.
Okay.
And this is a section we call Pitch Your Passion. And this gives you 2 minutes to talk about anything you're passionate about. You've shared a lot of things today with us, but it could be about a charity, it could be about your company, it could be anything you want to talk about. So it's your time.
My passion is really about self-care. And I mean, so it's kind of related to time management, but from a personal level, like I find that a lot of people don't have a time management problem. On many days, they have an energy deficiency problem. And I think that we all need to find time and schedule time to do the things that bring us joy in life. And that gives us energy. Like I'm reminded of a time when I used to bowl on Wednesdays. It was a bowling league. It was so much fun, and it broke up the week. And I looked forward to it on Monday and Tuesday.
Yeah.
And then on Wednesday, of course. And then Thursday and Friday, I was just energized because of the bowling. It was just so much fun, and just doing the things that bring you joy in life, along with your neighbors and friends. And that kind of bleeds into politics, but a safe area. And that is, we need to do more with people that we don't necessarily align with, because we do have much more in common than we think. And in such a polarized time, I think that's really important. Debbie and I have this conversation frequently because I have posted political things on social media. And so I think back, like, I've been arguing with people mindlessly for 15 years, and I have influenced 0 people. Like, I've changed nobody's mind about anything politically. But where I have changed minds is when people understand something at a personal level, and I understand them. And so the more that you do the things that you love to do, and do them with somebody that may not agree with you politically, we really need that in today's times, because it's just insane out there. So I'm kind of more of a political creature, and that's one of my passions. So it's hard to stay away from that.
No, we appreciate it,
We
Paul.
appreciate
Thanks for all the great advice today, the great tips, and we really enjoyed having you on the Mostly Legal podcast.
I loved it. So thank you for having me. I'm kind of more of a political creature, and that's one of my passions. So it's hard to stay away from that.
No, we appreciate it,
We
Paul.
appreciate it.
Thanks for all the great advice today, the great tips, and we really enjoyed having you on the Mostly Legal podcast.
I loved it. So thank you for having me.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the Mostly Legal podcast. If you like what you heard, make sure you like and subscribe so you don't miss a single episode.
Stay tuned as we uncover more behind-the-scenes stories of law firms with the best minds in the business. And Rob.
Thanks.